by Mr. Darko Beats.
Welcome back. Welcome in New York. Episode 155 of Post 90 Podcast. I think we were an episode off last week, so we might have said it was 155 last week too.
We also, I don't know if it made the final cut, but we also talked about how we were playing Atlanta.
Right.
All this stuff. So I don't know, maybe we had like some fogged brains that...
We were seeing into the future somehow, like a full week in advance.
Now we can fully talk about how we're playing in Atlanta and yeah.
Yeah, and recap. What was the worst performance of the season for us this season against a pretty ravaged Columbus lineup? Obviously, I think Matt Freese spent the whole night kind of standing on his head when we could have, there would have been some people across the nation certainly begging for him to be doing the same for the national team, which we'll talk a little bit about today. But we want to start a new thing where we kind of pose a question to you guys. Whether you're on YouTube, you can leave a comment down there, kind of help out with engagement, leave a like, leave a sub. We're trying to throw all the sellout stuff at the beginning. That way you guys can help support. And the question of the week this week is if you couldn't pick Matt Freese, who would be your man of the match? If there even is one.
Which could, technically include Janssen,
or could include a player from the other team, I guess. I don't know if we're opening that door.
I mean, there are 22 people on the field.
I guess Janssen is a candidate as well. I hadn't thought of him, but even just listening to his kind of post-game interview, it put, I think, the context of the game, or it put more context into the game that we saw. Him just speaking about training and knowing us being some depth pieces down, and obviously our starting striker down in Alonso, all off to international duty. Seemed like he kind of came in with a plan, knowing that we were going to be behind the ball for the most part, not have a ton of possession. I know on FootMob it said Columbus had like 76 or 78%. I don't know if I've ever seen that number against us in a game that we've played.
It was a tough watch. I felt like I was on the edge of my seat the whole time and not for the right reasons. And so it sucks because, you see Columbus have a ton of the ball, 60% or more, and you're not seeing a ton of movement from us in the attacking form. But then, we do have those stray moments here and there and we just waste them. So it's super frustrating in that sense. But at the, end of the game, you're looking at it, get a point on the road, first clean sheet of the season. There's a lot of positives to come for that. On top of, we'll talk about 3 17-year-olds being on the field, 4 homegrowns.
Most in history.
A draft pick on the left side as well. So there's a lot to, I guess, be excited about. Obviously, that game didn't go the way that, we would have wanted or, could have possibly been had, Maxi made a different decision potentially in about the 70th minute.
Yeah.
I won't drop the exact timestamp because I'm not going to let them know that I know.
I was just going to fully dox you and say we walked into the stew today, and the first words out of your mouth walking into the stew is, bro, did you see the screenshot of Maxi at the 76th minute and 14th second when he could have passed to either Seymour on the left or Maximo on the right? And I guess I didn't realize your brain was as severe to allow you to understand that type of information and retain it down to the second. And sure enough, we pull it up and Maxi is sprinting down the field, and Maximo, like you said, makes a beautiful run in between the 2 center backs, one of which I think it was his first ever MLS start with all the people that Columbus had gone on international duty. Maxi chooses not to make a pass there, and then Seymour, like you said, was out left, even more wide open than Maximo was, and really either of those kids could have got a debut assist or goal, and the agenda, I guess, that could have been spun coming out of a performance like that from one of the young kids would have been super crazy, but instead Maxi kind of opts to just sky it over the top of the box against a 39-year-old backup keeper with Schulte off at the national team, sitting behind Matt Turner, who is at this point probably a waste of a call-up if you had to ask me, and a lot of the internet it seems like, but kind of an uncharacteristic moment for Maxi.
Yeah, no, I feel like, I've seen that at pickup many, many times when, maybe the older or better, more experienced players kind of see you make a perfect run and they know that, you're not going to have the right touch or
it's a trust issue.
The final touch. So, in Maxi's mind, he truly believed the long shot is the higher XG chance. but like just give it to the kid. Let him try to put it on his left foot and make history. Like that would have been our youngest goal scorer ever.
Easily.
You know, a crazy moment for Maximo and the team. Like that would have been so cool. You know, can't really live in what ifs at this point. You know, you still managed to get out with a point. First clean sheet. Matt Freese, you know, obviously oozing confidence at the moment. You know, Burke, I thought, had a great performance, you know, compounding on the game before. So going into Atlanta, I do have confidence that, you know, getting Alonso back, getting, you know, I guess another consistent performance on the road is possible.
Yeah, and I think getting Alonso back is obviously going to be like the key to the whole system. I guess I don't think we fully realize what he means to the team at times. You know, if he's not contributing directly to the score sheet with a goal and an assist, sometimes it feels like he's not doing a lot out there. But I think when, you know, you compare an Alonso scoreless 90 minutes to like a Bakrar scoreless 90 minutes, it's a very, very different situation. And I think we kind of stood Baki up before as creating a lot of chances and not having that end ball. Even like this game, it kind of felt like the chances weren't even really there. I think speaking of XG overall, we had like 0.13 overall, which is like essentially you really did not try to score. And, you know, we are talking about a Columbus team that is a lot more ravaged than we are. Like I said, the center back had his debut. The goalkeeper is a backup, 39 years old. And I think somebody said it might have been Hudson River that he didn't have to make a single save. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't doubt that.
Which is not that is not the game plan. Like Pascal, obviously in training, you would think like we have to just get shots on target because you would assume or you would hope at some point like this guy's going to fold. He just doesn't have the experience not to.
Right.
You know, if you can put up enough shots, then like something's going to fall eventually against a guy like that.
Yeah, well, and I go back to, you know, not to pile on Moonsef. This is really to build Alonso up, but there's moments where you just think if Alonso was in the position that Moonsef was in, not only does he maybe do more on the ball, but he also does more to get himself open. Like I distinctly remember, you know, point in the broadcast where, you know, Burke is looking for Moonsef over the top because there's really no options. Moonsef decides to sprint directly down the middle of a three in the back rather than trying to, you know, split two of the defenders, pull them wide, or, you know, do something creative. And I just go back to Pascal's comments on Moonsef and saying, like, there's times where he just doesn't play like a striker. Like, he just plays, you know, not necessarily super intelligent football. And I think that showed, and Alonso in those positions typically doesn't make those mistakes. Typically, he does make the correct run. He may not be, you know, the tireless pressing striker that, you know, Moonsef is, but creatively in the attack, he just adds so much more.
Yeah, and just the ability to be clinical, where like when he does get that one shot, like more often than not, he's going to find the back of the net. For whatever reason, he just kind of has that trait where if he can get one off, he won't get. It's not like Totti, where Totti's taking like 12 shots a game and scoring a goal or two. It's like Alonso's like taking 2 shots a game and like one of them or both of them are going in. And like at that point, I mean, that's all you can really ask for of him. I think another thing that this really highlighted, and we tweeted out during the game, is like these are the kind of the games where points are dropped due to roster construction.
Yeah.
And it is tough. It is we're kind of injury plagued a little bit at the moment. Obviously, Keaton going out, we have to have a conversation about that.
We haven't even talked about Malachi being his journey being extended.
Yeah, and you know the ongoing issue that hopefully has subsided now for Burke, but even like the highlight of Kevin O'Toole going out with the red card, like those little moments that happen, like you can't just allow a game. You can't give up a game in the MLS at any point, and not having depth and having to sign. What was it, 2 or 3 short-term contracts for MLS Next Pro kids to get them up here. Obviously, I think it's a great moment to highlight and to give like Maximo and Seymour experience. And for whatever reason, Johnny Shore was sitting to start the game, but he made his way in after the Keaton thing. But like, it's tough not to look back on that game and think like, what if we had a more experienced player? Or we had like, if we were spending big money, kind of like we have at specific points in the past. 'Cause we're not big money spenders, but
No.
like when we bring in a player, like typically they're in the range of like 10 to 20 mil.
Right.
And I mean, we haven't been great about playing them either once we get them in, but you think, what if we had one key piece, two key pieces? What if Santi was here still, or a player that should have been purchased of his pedigree to replace him? Like, you would have to think we have more in the attack if Santi's playing in the 11 that game.
Or even like, I said during the game when Seymour got in, and it's not to take away from, him, it's a big moment for him and Maximo, and like you said, but how much better would it have been to have a JJ coming off the bench?
Mm-hmm. Or Calhera. Like,
these guys that we've had in the building before who did, everything you could possibly do to earn a chance. And then now, we're relying on a 17-year-old kid who really doesn't have that same experience, who doesn't, I've not seen BS clinical. It's tough to look at some of those decisions. Like, what did we give JJ away for? For free, right? Like, he literally, 100. Or whatever it is. Yeah. It's tough to look at those situations, but you also have to look inside, like, not to pile on Munsef, but the coach literally said during the game, a 17-year-old is a better option in this moment than Munsef Bakrar. Yeah. Like, that's got to sting. If that's not motivation to you, I don't know what will motivate you. I don't know what'll be the fire under you to get you going.
And it wasn't just Munsef either to avoid piling on him. Like, the coach, Pascal, made the same decision with bringing Maximo on in a wing position. Both Hannes and Julian, we talked them up crazy last week, and kind of rightfully so. They both had, 2 GA over the course of the last 2 games, both to each other. But for whatever reason, like, they were just absent this game. And these are kind of, the things that rear their heads with Hannes and Julian. It's like the consistency is the biggest issue with them. And that's like a pretty difficult thing to overcome. I don't know how you overcome it, but like you said, the coach felt Maximo was a better option at 17 years old. I thought it was crazy that Seymour's actually younger than Maximo. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, well, so I was confused. The broadcast said that he was 16, but I think his birthday was actually this month.
Okay.
Like the 4th or something like
Maximo?
that. No, Seymour.
Oh, Seymour. Yeah. It's crazy because I feel like we waited so long for Maximo to finally get a shot. We've known about him for so long, and
what did he sign at 14?
Yeah, I think so. Like, it's been like 2 or 3 years coming now, and even prior to signing, like, we knew this academy prospect that even like the people that cover the men's national team more frequently were discussing as well. So it kind of sucks in a way because it's an uneventful debut for kind of both of them. I think we've expected better moments for Maximo, but it speaks to Pascal definitely trusting him to bring him in that kind of game. Like, there's a non-zero chance, or there's a world where like Maximo or Seymour can fuck up in that situation and give up a goal that costs us a point.
Honestly, I hate to say it because his dad is so active in the social world.
Yeah.
And it's like, I promise it's not about the kid, it's just the performance, the soccer part of it. Defensively, left Micha on an island from the minute he got in the game until final whistle. Complete island. 100%.
Yeah. And Micha was working overtime. Like, I think aside from Freese, he had the highest match rating from our team. That said, it was like Freese, I think, was top of the match. And then it was like 10 Columbus players, and then it was Micha, which says a lot about our performance. But maybe that would be my answer if I had to answer our own question, is like Micha, I guess would be the guy. Because like you said, he was really out there on the island, like begging for help on that right side.
Throat got so fucking dry. Holy shit. This is my flu game, bro. My God. I'm going to have to go grab some water real quick from the sink.
All right.
Holy shit. I might die if I drink this fucking shit.
Yeah, it might not even work, actually.
It don't.
Yeah. I think the water heater exploded.
We're good. I'll just fucking push through this shit. Well, in the middle of that, I'm like trying to like swallow spit so I can like get my throat good. God damn, editor man's got a fucking task.
I don't even know how do we segue our way back into a conversation. I mean, I feel like we've said that's the shitty thing, is there's not much to say about a game like this other than like, I guess the positive is like we kind of got pummeled for like 90 minutes and somehow held on.
Yeah, I mean, perseverance to the ninth degree. You know, I don't want us to fall into that like relying on Freese thing that we've done before, but
That's why he's Freese. Like,
I gotta get water, bro.
I don't know where we'll cut it, but
We can just hop back in. Yeah, apologies for that. Obviously, dealing with a little bit of a cold here, if you can tell it in the voice. So, had to get some liquid in this throat, but
okay.
all right, let's not do that. But yeah, I don't want the team to continue falling into, you know, the habit of relying on Freese, because last season. It just wasn't a winning formula. Period.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess it's a privilege though that we get to, and you know, there's other situations if we want to segue to like the men's national team conversation a little bit, is like where you wish you could be relying on Freese. You know, you would have to think in that game. I think it was Panama, right? Like Turner was getting cooked online, and I think very rightfully so. And I mean, I'm prepared to go out on a limb, and maybe it isn't even a limb. Like it might be a full branch that's very strong. That like that goal does not go in if Matt Freese is playing.
Yeah, I mean, even
potentially Schulte too if he's playing.
Even Stefan.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said. I think we always come on here and like you say, availability is the best ability, and like we're bringing in these players that, you know, potentially because they're on big name clubs, and you know you can use those clubs to write headlines or whatever about them, you know, playing for the men's national team and try to stand us up that way. But like Freese or Turner's not getting time there, and like just from a form versus, I don't even know what word you would use to defend Turner, like pedigree of club team perspective, like I don't know why you would ever not take the guy that's in form, that's playing every week, that is playing like an animal every week, being the best player on his team, over somebody that's just like kind of rusting. Like that's what he's doing, is just rusting away there.
Yeah, well, and even if you're Matt Turner, you know, career-wise, how do you choose that as the path? Like you got to be somewhere playing every single week, like no matter what, to be a national team player.
Right.
You have to be the best of the best, and he just isn't.
Yeah. And what do you think about the conversation of, I guess, bringing in a lot of these guys that play over at Euro clubs versus not falling back, I think, on like our home league, which you see a lot of nations do. You see, if we put it in the context of NYCFC, like the big rumor with Santi was that he left us to go play for a team in South America. That way he felt like his selection for the national team was better. Now, like whether or not that's true, it happens enough that that's a sentiment that people apply to moves like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that bias doesn't exist, but it's clear that it does. Like the MLS is always going to have that kind of sting to it, like the, you know, bias that it's American, it's not as good. But if you know, we talked about it with like the 10-year anniversary and stuff like that. The league is at such a higher level than it was 10 years ago that bias shouldn't exist anymore. There are players like a Zach Steffen, like a Matt Freese, you know, a Keaton Park, who we've been shouting for years and years and years that he deserves a chance in the national team. Like, you should be able to get a shout no matter what. I mean, there's a dude playing in AFCON that doesn't play for a club at all. Like, he literally just is not a professional player, but was playing.
Yeah.
You have to, at some points, like, you have to look at it. Who's playing? Who's in form? Soccer is soccer at the end of the day. Who's the best player?
Yeah, and I was trying to find it. Somebody had posted, like, their best 11 MLS team versus kind of our national players that are overseas performing, and, like, it didn't feel like, especially, like, there were positions where you could absolutely take the guy from the MLS 11 over a few players that we have playing over in Europe. And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of disheartening, especially to then go on and lose to Canada as well, right? Which I think we lost them the last time we played, and wasn't that like the first time we lost to Canada in
a long time?
Decades.
Yeah, a long time. So
I don't know. I know all the analysts were going crazy. You saw Alexi Lalas trying to cut his own Taylor Twellman promo. It's tough because, you know, that's one of the moments where you agree with him when he's kind of shitting on the team after playing so poorly. But there's not much time to figure it out.
Well, that's the thing, though, and not to spend too much time on the national team, but like the way that this whole thing is being reported on, like it just sucks to me. And yes, the U.S. should have won, should have played better, but I just feel it diminishes the achievement that Panama had to beat us, to advance to a final after doing a lot of things correct, and nobody's talking about it. Everyone's talking about how, the U.S. didn't do this, the U.S. didn't do that. I just wish the reporting was, look at all the things that Panama did correct to win this game and to advance to a final, and how big that is, for a small country.
Yeah. Well,
that's what's cool about soccer, not, what America didn't do.
I do have to say, like, the coolest moment of the international window was when that dude on Panama scored, and he runs and jumps up on the CBS analyst desk and just grabs Tiari. He's like, "You're my idol."
Yeah,
you're my idol.
That's insane.
Like, that's just like one of the coolest moments of all time. So you're right. Like, highlighting more stuff like that is cool, and yeah, I think it was a lot of back and forth live, kind of shitting on our own guys and things like that, rather than highlighting kind of some of the other major accomplishments. But I guess that's what happens when they play bad. I don't know. I don't know if people are going to start turning on Pochettino. I mean, it didn't take long to kill Greg. I mean,
or Klinsmann.
Yeah, to kill anybody. I mean, it doesn't take long, especially when you have the runway to the World Cup kind of looming. I mean, obviously he's definitely the guy through the World Cup. That has to be like written into the contract or something. And really the only thing saving us at this point is that we get that host qualification, I feel like.
Yeah, because we don't have to qualify.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it seems like we may have an opportunity in the summer to, I think they're playing Turkey in Hartford.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe make it out there again as credentialed. Get to see some of the players in the flesh. I think that'll be pretty cool. And then we might not be able to see them again until the World Cup.
Which should do.
Which is crazy, yeah.
Which we should do.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of men's national team, a little bit of NYCFC. I did just see that Tavon is starting for NYCFC 2 right now.
Really?
So that is good. I would assume that means he's full go next week for us.
It's Monday now. Yeah, I mean, short week, but...
Yeah. I mean, he wouldn't be starting for the second team if there was something seriously wrong with his leg.
Yeah, I just don't know that he takes the job from Micha.
Oh, that's just, yeah, I don't know.
Tough.
It's weird because every time we've had Tavon absent, like Micha has a way of showing up every time he gets an opportunity. It's actually like crazy that he does that. But like somehow Tavon just has like supplanted himself in that role. Like every manager we've had, the second Tavon's good to go, like he's the guy plugged in.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know. Maybe there'll be some weird package or something that we haven't seen from Pascal yet.
Micha right wing with some Julian struggles on the road.
I wouldn't hate that. I would actually like
5
it.
at the back. Tavon's right center back.
There's a lot of ways to cut it. And I don't know.
If Keaton is gone, you play 5 in the back with Tavon, right center back. Away versus Ronnie, I think.
Well, if Keaton's gone, you do need a hack in the midfield. So you're down a center back now, I guess. We could very well see a 5 in the back. I mean, and Micha on the right, I wouldn't hate it. Would you put Micha on the right wing and Tavon at right back, or would you flop that?
I would Micha right wing, yeah.
Yeah. Man, I feel like we're really missing what Tavon brings to our attack.
Yeah.
We haven't like fully had it for like 2 games now.
More than that. He got hurt like immediately during Miami, right?
Was it all the way back then?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Miami, or it was 1 or 2.
Yeah, I feel like that hasn't been talked about enough. That's a big factor of...
But then Micha scores, so, you know.
That's true. Yeah, because Micha scored against LA, right?
Miami.
Oh, okay. Was he subbed in at that point? Because Tavon got hurt week 1?
I think so.
Jeez.
Tavon got hurt like immediately right into Miami.
I don't know how I forgot about that. I feel like we've just kind of let that fly under the radar, and we've been so focused on like what are we going to do with the left back. But I guess it's just because Micha is that perfect Band-Aid.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry. So yeah, It's 155. I
Yeah.
guess we don't have to say our sellout shit at the end anymore.
Yeah,
we did our homework early.
Get out of here while I still have a voice.
Yeah. So we'll catch you guys after Atlanta. Big matchup against Ronnie.
A lot of emotions for that one.
And I would say I don't like our chances. I think I'd
No,
say
I do.
that.
I see us going and stealing 3 points. And I
So
say that
opposite
because
from what
they
I
are, like, an early season Ronnie team is absolutely gettable.
That's fair.
100%.
Yeah.
And
If you have to see Ronnie, see him in March, not October.
100%.
You're kind of spitting with that. Okay. Well, we'll see. The
books are going to be got.
You think? We'll see. We'll see. I don't know who we play after Atlanta, but I believe we're back home. So
We are back home.
potentially an opportunity to be out there. I don't know if it's like I don't know when the first Citi Field game is, but it has to be coming down the line. But yeah, that'll pretty much do it.
We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.
Produced by Mr. Darko Beats.